All right, I think we're good.
All
Maybe.
right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Old Moon Podcast, episode 54, right? 54?
55.
55.
55.
Bro, the weeks are blurring together. I tell you, the weeks
really
are blurring together. And I will say that Jay Kuhn went above and beyond for the art this week. I think the art this week looks incredible. I think it looks awesome. Like, I just absolutely
Muscle
love
mommy.
it.
I don't know about this art. Regular?
This is normal art, okay? This is not normal, not as sexualized. This dude literally. You want me to bring up the previous art? I'll bring up the previous art while we're talking. That's
So
fine.
good.
I'm your host,
The
Blue
car
Squadron,
art too.
joined as always by my co-hosts. We'll start with Blonde Bear. Go ahead.
Hello, it's me, Blonde Bear. I love to party.
Bro,
Love
you
to
gotta
party.
get your intro to bro. We gotta work on your intro game, man. We'll get there.
I'm the natural YouTube comment hated, you know.
Yo.
Oh gosh, yeah, we're gonna talk all about it. It's gonna be great. And my boy Jay Kuhn.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is VT, before the T. I would
All
like to
right.
name with 765 gear score, do a lot of endgame content such as Olin's Valley, the Dungeon, and Ulakita. I've been recently playing this game called Content Warning, which has a similar vibe to Lethal Company. And you basically
Turn off
film
text
some
to
serious stuff
speech
and
UWU.
upload it to this thing called SpookTube to go viral. And
What?
yeah, it's been fun. You can find me over at twitch.tv/JKun and VTV before the T.
Right on.
There you go.
Okay, yeah. So honestly, the first thing we're gonna talk about are the. See, that was a good intro. See, I don't have to add anything to that. He just nailed it, right? I will say. So let's talk about the comments from the previous week and how right I was. For just like 2 seconds. Because I
really?
knew from the moment that Blonde Bear opened his mouth,
Tuh.
it was crazy, bro. Honestly, the
really the
comments got
takeaway
so
we have?
savage. Blonde, how'd you feel about the comments?
I loved it. I think you do a very good job of audience capturing specifically new players. No, I feel like they're okay. I think a lot of people get me wrong. I feel really bad for the people that are like Blonde Bear L take. Oh, he wants it to be hard because he had it hard. Okay, I didn't have it hard. I had a really easy go of it, actually. There's people that are like, oh, you know, he knew what it was like to grind 20 mils. He wants everybody else to grind 20 mils. No, I don't. I love catch-up mechanics. I love new players. I want new players in this game.
Changing
I
your
just think
tune,
that
man.
when you play a hardcore grindy MMO, it kind of needs to be a hardcore grindy MMO, and I like that aspect, and that's what I'd like to stick to. And it's my opinion, whatever. But I love. What did I just listen to? Blonde Bear, who hurt you, bro?
Yeah,
Player
Blonde Bear.
sentiment like Blonde Bear is why many MMOs and the subsequent communities die off, which is. In some portions, I could agree. In some cases, for some games, in others, making it too casual is what killed the game. So, not too casual. Sorry, changing the game fundamentally is what killed the game. I think it can go either way. Games have different histories depending on their changes. But I love the comments. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, most of these comments are just flaming Blonde Bear, and I was
Uh,
laughing the whole time.
and
Blonde
they
was
should.
probably not
Same.
laughing. But
They should.
I was dying
moly.
laughing.
Yeah,
I was dying
it's-
laughing until I got to the bottom, and you see like the most thumbs down posts that are like, listen guys, why is everybody hating on Blonde Bear? Or, oh, I kind of understand Blonde Bear's opinion because of this and that, but maybe it needs to be stated a better way. And I'm like, oh, okay, some people kind of get me. Okay, that's cool. But I get it. If I was a new player and I heard some guy that's been playing the game since the launch saying the shiz I'd say, I'd probably be mad at him too. I'd be like, I want to get into this game. Why does this guy not want me to get in this game? It's just perspective. I just think it's a perspective, and that's okay. It is what it is. I don't need them to like me.
It seems like we got a lot of engagement. Maybe we should do this more.
Yeah, honestly, it got more views than most of the other podcasts. Thanks, Blonde. Maybe you should come in with a hot take. And I say you because Jay and I don't want to do that.
Listen, this is not fake. This is exactly how I feel. I am 100% true though. I play BDO because I want to grind tons of hours and make a bunch of money. That's literally why I accidentally sent you a screenshot of RuneScape, because I'm playing RuneScape because RuneScape has this like constant cool EXP grind or working at this grind. Like I've been playing a lot of games like that. I don't know if I'm becoming a boomer or what. I don't know what it is. I think I'm transitioning to a new state of my life where maybe I just like this kind of stuff. It's like some weird torture. I don't know.
Well, regardless of what it is, I appreciate your hot takes, Blonde. I just know when it comes out of your mouth how good of content this is going to be in the comments. I can just the second that moment it leaves your mouth, I can already hear the birds singing in the comments. It feels so good to me. I love it. It's my favorite. All right, so we have a lot to talk about today, and Blonde Bear is going to have the hottest take of the century on the Karma System nerf. I am sure. Let's get opinions
Karma
on this
system
before anyone else
nerf.
speaks.
Wait, what
Can
happened?
we get the raw, unadulterated opinion? Blonde, how do you feel
What
about
happened?
the Karma nerf system coming into the game? For those of you that don't know what's happening on the global labs right now, there is a Karma nerf in the. Oh wait, did it come to live yet? I don't think it's
Karma
live
nerf?
yet.
It's in Korea.
So it's
Yeah.
it's live in KR, but it's on the global labs right now. And
Yeah.
so essentially, it will take you 5 times as long to get your karma back. Right. Once it's gone, mobs will give you way less karma per mob.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
also,
Okay.
I think your level also has a lot to do with it too, or something as well. So like, you can't go to an alt. They're trying to prevent you from just like switching to a karma alt, grinding your karma back at like Desert Bogans.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And doing it again. Essentially, and you can also go to negative 10 million karma instead of just a million. Yeah, so if you're gonna go negative on someone, you can really pay the price for it. Essentially, Blonde, how do you feel about this?
I don't like that.
I don't know why. Well, I don't.
He's just trying to
I
be
don't
careful.
know.
Look at him. Look at him. He's like, I don't
weird.
know which one's the hot take. Hold on.
It's kind of weird because like I feel like if they're just gonna make it so that there's no point to go red or PvP or
Yeah.
flag up, then like why not just remove flagging from the game? At this point, like
Pretty
even
much.
PvPers, I've seen the sentiment of like, why not
Yeah.
just remove flagging, make half the channels Arsha, and then like let some channels be open free PvP and some not be. Like I feel like that's the sentiment. But at the same time, I get like some of the allure coming to the game is the flag is the point that you can flag up at any time. The fact that you can just flag up and grab a friend and mess with them or whatever. The fact that you can do those things and removing that sort of core essential part, I think, is they're scared to like completely remove it. I don't know if it was needed or necessary. The fact that you have to grind for like what 2 straight days to get your karma back, and you go to like
dude.
10 million, I think they said or something. I thought that was wild.
Stupid.
I just feel like there's better ways to change the system to make players that want a PvP be on a PvP server versus people that don't want any of that stuff to not. But then, like, I don't know. It depends on what side of the thing you're on. If you're the guy that just only has a few hours to grind a day and you go to a spot and some dude's like, you know, going in your spot and you can't flag up or move him, yeah, you're going to have to channel swap. Okay, if you're on cooldown and another guy's there, it's like, okay, I can't grind, so I can't even flag on the person and kill them. Or you're the guy that is going there and someone comes into, you know, you're the guy going into someone else's spot and trying to grind and now they can't flag on you, so like, because they're going to lose massive amounts of karma. Like, depending on what side of it on, you're kind of like,
Yeah. Two sides.
I don't know if it's a W thing. I just feel like there's better ways that they could have done this.
I think it's an
It's
L.
kind of weird. I mean,
I think it's an L.
like it. The fact that,
Of course, Blue
you
is
know,
going to think
everybody
it's a
standard or
W.
whatever, but I feel like they could just completely
Which is
change
so
the system,
weird.
and that would
It's just so weird
probably be more
he
healthy for the
thinks
game,
that.
right?
I don't know.
If you push people that want to have that overworld sort of aspect of anytime action can happen, you can move like half the
Like,
channels
I get
to
the
like
whole
a Warframe
harassment
style,
thing, but
where you can flag them and there's no penalty or
I
whatever.
feel like there's just
And then
better
the
ways
only
to
people
deal
do
with
that,
that
which is quite a lot of players, can have half of the
and get
channels
rid
that have
of
nothing to do
and
with
to
that.
get rid of
I
something
think
such a
I think
core feature of the
Is it
game.
just PvE and PvP
I don't know.
servers? Like just
yeah,
what?
yeah. Like you have Arsha where you can flag up a kill and there's no penalty or whatever, and then on the other stuff you just have non-flagging channels where you can't PvP and you just I guess you would essentially grind over people, but that's what some people want. Some people don't want flagging in the game or whatever. That's the penalty of dealing with that kind of system. It's like flagging is a good and a bad thing. It kind of goes both ways, so it depends.
Okay, Jay, I'm curious what your thoughts are. I'll give my thoughts last on this.
I mean, this is definitely going to change, like, and discourage people from going negative karma even more so on top of all the penalties already. And for listeners who are unaware of the penalties, like some big ones to make note of is multiple active crystals can break from PvP. Gear can also downgrade an enhancement level if you die in PvE. Light stones can also break in PvE. And I believe you can also not use the tagging system, or rather, like, you can't, like, item copy or something like that. So there's so many downsides, and yet I didn't realize that there were still, you know, players willing to harass others. That the karma system is yet again receiving even more downsides, and despite that, there's still people who like want to go red on purpose, and which kind of like makes me wonder like what makes red players like so appealing? Because in the past, didn't it like wasn't
thrill
it
of
kind
the
of sort of like
hunt.
a novel thing to be a red
Thrill.
player? It's interesting, but yeah, I don't. As for whether this is good for the game or not, I mean, as someone who played an Awakening Witch for 5 years, and dueling was not really my strong suit, so the karma system was, going right was not the most appealing to me, and so I kind of, I personally kind of brushed this off. Like I thought it was like non-content for me as a PvE player, so that's kind of my take on it. Is that okay? I see it over there. I'll just continue over here with my PvE stuff. So.
I mean, yeah, I mean, this kind of content kind of affects everybody. And I'm curious what the PvE, like the pure PvE lords, thought about like the karma changes like this. My guess was that you were going to be mainly in favor, but really like kind of skeptical overall. Kind of exactly what Blonde said.
It's like I care. Like, how often, Jay, do you and I run into people on a server that we wouldn't just swap off of at the spots that we go to? Like, if you see
Yeah,
a
I
person in
usually
a
just
spot they're already
swap.
grinding, you just
Yeah.
swap. Right? I don't think I've had an issue of like PvP flagging or anything like that. And I don't know how long. I immediately default to the option to switch channels or find another spot. And I don't know. That's just my mindset because, like, I just don't care for it, and I don't want to waste my time. Versus, like, I don't
It
know.
has
It's
also. I was sorry. I was gonna say it has
you're good.
also. Like PA has been in that direction of just tower spots. Like all the Tekia spots are kind of tower spots, and
Right.
and that's kind of like what I've been grinding mostly lately is just Tekia spots, and so it
Right.
doesn't really incentivize trying to take another person's spot because there's just one spot for everybody. So
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that red players in general, I don't think that it really affects actual red players at all. Like they're already red. They live the red
Right.
lifestyle anyway, so it doesn't matter to them how long it takes them to get their karma back. This is basically a targeted nerf towards people who are harassing players. It's another nerf. Like you're
Okay.
trying to attack players that are like, harassing players that are just like coming after. Like they flag and they run people down. Now, whether or
Gotcha.
not it was actually required, I actually don't think so. In this case, and normally I'm Mr. Pro new player, pro everything. I don't really care that the karma system is being changed. I never go red on karma, but I will say that like I felt like the punishments that were there before were kind of enough to kind of deter people in the first place. This will definitely be more than enough to deter people from trying to enter into
Actually surprised
flagging on enemy
blue
players.
is
But like, let's just call a spade here.
wow.
They don't want open world PvP
Surprised.
anymore. Like it's very obvious that they don't want you to be able to flag on other players in the open world that is outside of a GVG, right? Outside of like a declaration of war between two guilds, which they seem to be totally fine with. They do not want you flagging on other players. So instead of constantly making like we're heading towards this system, we all know it's coming. They're just going to remove open world flagging. That's what it feels like. But like I feel like they're stuck in a position right now where the game is actually fundamentally not good enough PvE wise that they can remove open world flagging and not lose part of their player base. They still
100%.
have to they still have to add like a bunch of PvE content to the game that is in-game content that makes everybody super happy that kind of takes the focus off of PvP in the end game because right now our end game is still PvP. Let's just be honest about it. They still have to
Node
add like
Wars,
meaningful end game
Sieges.
PvE content or group PvE content like raids, dungeons, etc. If they want to remove open world flagging from the game, because otherwise, removing open world flagging is going to make a lot of people angry for good reason. But like, it's pretty obvious that they want to do that at this point. I'm not sure that the karma nerfs, like, how often do you see someone flag up on your rotation? Like, even I don't have real issues, and people hate
Only
me.
on our show.
Like
Only
no,
on our
like
show.
yeah, on Arsha, yeah, but that's Arsha. You asked for it.
Yeah, 100%.
I do sincerely think that like they should just like fix the system one way or another. The open world PvP system needs to be fixed one way or another. Like this ability to flag on any player anywhere all the time, it's just outdated and it just won't work. I would much rather have the system from New World, or I would much rather have the system from World of Warcraft, where like you have to challenge people to duels, or people have to opt into PvP. And if they do opt into PvP, you give them heavy rewards and benefits for doing so. Like in New World,
Yeah.
the system is if you
Yeah.
flag
I think that's a
once
great
you're
idea.
in town, you can choose to flag for PvP.
Yeah.
If you flag for PvP, you get a huge drop rate bonus and you get all this stuff. Like, I wouldn't mind giving people like 30 or 50% drop rate for flagging for PvP in a town. But once you're flagged for PvP, anyone can kill you. You remove the karma system from the game. There is no more karma at that point. There's no more of that because the people that consented to PvP consented before they left the town. And then the people that don't consent to PvP can't be PvP'd unless it's a guild war.
Yeah,
It's literally just that simple. Like
I think they could do it by making half the channels Arsha, and then you opt in when you go on the channel. You just go in and you're flagged up and you fight. Like I think that would kind of revitalize or revive those servers because there's already people going on those servers now to PVE as bait for the PvPers. But like they kind of did that with Arsha and Anon Arsha. Now people are going and splitting between those channels and fighting a lot. I have a few friends that literally fight there all the time, and or they'll just go to every grind spot, do like a world tour, where they'll gank everybody. I think that. They could completely remove it, but I completely agree with your statement that I think they're waiting for the PvE content. They have like 4 or 5 things they're working on right now. I think that post that they're gonna feel like they're maybe in a better position because exactly like you said, what's the end game for PvP until they get these PvE modes in? I think that's 100% exactly the case because they are moving towards that. I mean, I don't even know if this is even necessary too because we have like the Marnie realm, we have 5-minute channel swaps, we have ways to avoid it, and I think that, like you said exactly, it's to stop the targeted sort of harassment or following or whatever, and to make those penalties even worse. Because it's not just like people just wanting to run around and fight. I mean, like there's other content creators that do exactly that. Like Zeratin goes around on our show, he challenges people. If they want to keep fighting, to fight him. If not, he'll move on, and like they'll just do different stuff like that. And there's ways to make it fun for yourself, I think.
I don't like the idea of having only PvE and only PvP servers, mainly because I think that everyone is just on the PvE servers then, and it's a zoo. I think that we already see how many people are actually interested.
So?
Yeah, I think we already see how many people are actually interested in grinding on a server like Arsha, and like there's a reason that Arsha is basically deserted all the time. There's not enough of a reward. People don't see like the risk reward benefit. It's just not there, and people don't want to deal with it. So like I think that like if you ask any normal player, do you want to be on a PvP server and have like 50% drop rate, or would you rather be on a PvE server where no one can PvP, you can grind in peace? They're probably going to pick the PvE server every time unless you jack that reward up so high that they can't get around it, and then they are stuck in a situation where if they don't grind on the PvP server, well, then they're just griefing themselves because they've got 100% less drop rate, right? Like so, like I don't know.
Like if you have a system where like you only flag up in town, you're just going to create like everybody unflagged and griefing anyways, which would be a non-flagging channel in the first place. Like
exactly.
You would just have tons of people, quote unquote, not flagged up. And then the flagged up people are like, oh, can I hit this guy? Nope. Oh, can I hit the next guy? Nope. Oh, can I hit the next guy? Versus you can consolidate all those players that want to fight into the Arsha designated channels or whatever. I think you just have to have more than, what do we have, like 2 of them right now? Arsha and Anon Arsha. If you had like 5, maybe 10, and then consolidated all the other channels, it's not flagging. I think that could work. I think that with a new world system, you create this weird problem where someone goes to like 50 grind spots and keeps trying to find people to fight, and like
but they can't.
He's run around and wasted all his buffs because there's no one wanting to fight. Versus if he knowingly goes to Arsha, he knows he's going to fight whoever's there on that channel. I feel like you create like a weird sort of limbo status. I definitely like those systems. I think it could work. I just think it's easier to just again consolidate, right?
Yeah.
The reason why most people don't go Arsha right now, I feel like, is just because they do a world tour and they're out because most people don't want to go Arsha because they don't want to go get PvP because they want the PvE buff aspect. They don't want to deal with the PvP versus if we make it like a more standard thing that like we have a bunch of these channels, it's more of like you're hunting between those PvP channels to try and find someone to fight. And again, the thrill of the hunt I think exists there. I mean, I'll admit it. I've definitely got on Arsha, and as soon as someone comes and finds me, I'm like, you got me. Swap back over to normal. 10 minutes later, swap back to Arsha. Okay, I'm on the cool channel now. Okay, they found me again. Frick. I think that's a definite aspect that people participate in.
Yeah, I mean, like you end up with this. Like, okay, so I'm running a poll right now in my chat to kind of see where people are at, and so guys, make sure that you vote on the poll so I can see where you're at. Would you rather have a full PvP server where like there's no karma negative penalty for killing you? There's a 50% drop rate, or would you rather just grind on a PvE server, no drop rate, and just be okay with that? I'm curious what the audience thinks about that, so I'll get back to you on that. there. But again, I think that if you make only PvP and only PvE servers, you kind of don't root out the main source of the problem. And then you end up with a lot of players. I guarantee you that the complaint is going to be, well, I feel like I have to grind on a PvP server because otherwise I'm griefing myself. Right? Like right now, I'll be honest with you, all Arsha is to 95% of people that are going to Arsha, all Arsha is a bag. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
I mean, that's the
They're
point.
not
That's the
going
bait
there.
for the
Yeah, they're not going there to try to PvP.
Yeah,
There are two types
sure.
of people on Arsha. There's the PvPers and there's the
Yes.
people that want the bag. And most of
I
the
completely
time,
agree.
I will ride to a grind zone while I'm on Arsha. This is a pro tip. I'll be on Arsha before I leave town while I'm getting my church buffs and stuff, and then I'll ride to the grind zone and I'll check and see if any of the rotations are open on Arsha. And if all the rotations are taken, I'll swap off Arsha and go to a normal channel. But if not, I'm just going to grind in peace on some backwater rotation 50% drop rate buff. But if anybody bothers me, I'm immediately going to swap. I'm not going to fight them.
Yeah.
Like,
No, of
It's
course,
fair.
of course.
most people,
But I think that's the bait. Like you bait PvEers to want that buff, see if they're willing to PvP at all, and if not, they swap back to a normal channel. I think that's like, because otherwise you're not going to get a bunch of PvPers going to Arsha to PvP PvPers. That's essentially what the game is. Otherwise you'd queue up for RBF if you wanted to fight people that wanted to PvP. It's on occasion you do run up to a grind spot if you're a PvPer and you find someone and you're like, oh, okay, they res up and they do want to fight back, or they really want to fight for their spot. I think that was like a core aspect of like a lot of the early game that I think a lot of those PvPers still reminisce on, and they want that back, which I don't know if that'll ever really exist. Some players do, some players don't like that. But I think that's the whole point, is that it's the bait, and like making it an option again of like, I guess we're just diametrically opposed, where like we both, see it the other way, and it's just like an opinion. So I think it's like okay to have those things to make those people go there, and that's the point, versus like not having it in the first place is understandable.
Yeah, I just feel like if you separate only PvE and PvP servers, it doesn't fix the underlying system. There were some people in the audience that
True. I don't know if you could ever fix it, because that's the core of the game, right?
no,
too
they
much of the
can't
game is
fix
built
it.
upon that system, right?
They're gonna have to rework it. That's just that's just how it works. Because right now
I'd love to, but
we're just piling down on the PvPers. They're just really grinding down on like the harassment and stuff. And to be honest with you, at a certain point, you start to punish people that aren't even doing harassment, and that's the biggest problem. So
Yep.
like
yeah,
at a
true.
certain
Yeah.
point, the system just needs
Yep.
to be changed.
I mean,
To
come on.
promote
There's
healthy
so
amounts of
many
PvP
systems
for
already in
people that want
place to prevent
PvP.
harassment.
And the people that don't want to
Marnie
PvP shouldn't
zone,
necessarily have to
switch the
engage
servers. Like, come
in
on.
PvP like that. Like I know that
Mhm.
that's
I
a
mean, it's
hot
just
take.
crazy.
I get it. Some people are like, no, you made a Black Desert on account. You knew what you signed up for. You should be able to be flagged for PvP all the time. I
Yeah.
simply think that that's super outdated. I think
Nope.
that in 2016, sure, that
I
was
don't
doable
agree.
because everybody was the same gear score and starting at the same time. And like it felt like you could catch up at a reasonable pace. Like, yeah, like it was very competitive back then. If
And
you missed a day, it was
actually
super
I'm one
behind, but like
who
really
avoids
you weren't that far
PvP.
behind.
I'm the
Nowadays,
same way.
bro, you get on Arsha and
I
it's like
swap servers.
745 gear
I don't want to
score.
mess with people,
Wusa in
but
Awaken,
that doesn't
J-Kun, like you walk into
mean
town, it's
that
like, oh yeah,
I don't
I'm gonna
want
grind late, and then J-Kun, the
that
bully that he is,
opportunity
comes
to
in and
go
flags and
away.
takes your spot, and there's nothing you can do about that because some dude with
That's an
impossible
alternate
gear
What do you
score.
mean? You just switch servers?
Some dude with some
That's an
impossible
imposter.
gear score came in and just knocked you off the rotation, and he's got years on you. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can hit 700 gear score in like what 3 months, 4 months, if you're playing actively. But like hitting 745, hitting 750 like this, that's going to take you years probably to do. Like that's a lot. So like I don't know, the gap between players is pretty big. I think that you have to approach the game differently. I think the player base is also massively different than when the game started as well. And you kind of just have to
Very
play.
different.
Yeah, you kind of have to just play, or you have to like push towards what your player base wants. And in this case, the vast majority of the player base is PvE and or life skillers, or just they just don't participate in PvP most of the time unless
Yeah.
it's with
Yeah.
like
I mean,
Node Wars
I
or
don't.
Siege,
I don't
or they do
participate in
AOS,
PvP
right?
very
They
much,
do like if
but it
you
doesn't mean I want
include
the system
people
to go
that do
away.
Node Wars, Siege, AOS, and Guild League, you're talking about maybe 2% of the player base, maybe, and that's being generous. That really likes
I just
to
feel
just
like that's
flag up
what
in a
makes BDO
non-guild
so unique.
like Guild War situation, flag up and run around and kill people. And this is a very small amount of the population that is going to be particularly upset about the karma change, but You want to be careful when you change stuff like this. I'm curious why they don't want to just change the system altogether. There are some people in the audience that also said that Blizzard might come after them if they copy that system. That's not true at all.
Copy
A
what
lot of the
system?
MMOs in the genre
Nowadays
take the
they're doing that.
same. Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
the MMOs in the genre, like the big name MMOs, all basically use essentially the same system. It's not copyrighted. They can't just like say, oh no, that's our material. That's not how it works. They could absolutely implement a system like that in Black Desert and make it work. And it's very obvious that the developers don't want people harassing people anymore because they realize that they're losing money and losing
Right.
players because player harassment is happening.
I feel like that's
Why don't
such
you
a
change the
minor
system instead
thing,
of
though.
constantly just buckling down on the old one? Now you're just making the old
I mean,
veterans mad.
are
And
they
the new
doing it
players
because
don't really care that
new
much because
content
past years
creators
they
are
care
getting
about,
harassed and they
right?
can't play
So
the
like,
game?
I don't know. I'm not really sure how to feel too much about the karma
Is
system,
that
but we have a
why?
bigger deal to talk about on the podcast today, and that is the new pity enhancement system. And I just
Yeah.
want to say that I took another W here.
Yeah.
Once again, and Blonde Bear took the fattest L of his life. So I'm going to go ahead and let Blonde start off and tell us why he thought that this system was absolutely not going to be a pity enhancement system and why it was going to kill the game.
This-
Why don't you give us your thoughts about the pity enhancement system that everyone else loves so much and that you hate so much? Go ahead.
The way you threw him under the bus.
Yeah, here we go.
That's
I mean,
a lot
that's
of
def-
poisoning the
it's
well
definitely a
here.
W. Definitely a W.
That is a lot of poisoning the well here.
It's
I
definitely a
didn't think
W.
they would do it in a guaranteed enhancement system. I thought PA was definitely below
It's
that bar.
definitely a
I really
W.
truly did not think that they would actually arguably do something good with the game. I really didn't think that they would.
Good with
I
the
know
game?
people have talked
I thought
about
you
the enhancement
didn't want
system
that for
being
the
one of
game.
the most frustrating things in the game that they deal with, and they don't want to deal with it, which you could just buy. But
Yeah, I bought all my gear.
I was surprised. I
Well,
really
for the
truly
most
didn't
part.
think it would be that. I thought it would be like you get like a bonus percent that's basically guaranteed unless you're again incredibly unlucky. But yeah, I was surprised when I saw that at Global Labs, and I was looking at the stuff, and I think it's gonna be really weird that they didn't just let it be specific end game gear and they tried to do it across the board for everything like reblath and stuff. I feel like fail stacking is gonna be kind of awkward for some things. But yeah, I mean, I looked at the numbers and everything. I saw some math in some different discords I was in, and they were like, the chances of reaching 20 Devo attempts, failing whatever, or however many Black Star attempts is like 3% of the total player base of like people that would click, right? Which is such an anomaly that it shouldn't happen in the first place. And once you see the numbers, once you see the math, obviously for the first 24 hours, I was like, man, this kind of sucks. And that's more of, again, just my opinion of like, I like the mystery of like, I've been grinding all this for almost 2,000 hours. I went in knowing it would be either dropping soon or never dropping, and I accepted that, and I'm okay with that. But I understand when it comes to like not feeling your progression
Dude,
and stuff like that, it's
2,000
completely
hours.
separate kind of thing.
That's
And
kind of crazy, man.
it looks pretty good. I think it'll be all right. It just feels bad. I think if you're used to the old system and doing it like a transitionary state, it's going to be like, eh. But after 24 hours, I was like, yeah, it's a pretty good system because it's like, again, it's the chances of it occurring. It's not like you're getting it in 5 attempts, right? I feel like if it was like way less than the average, it would be something you'd be like really upset about or something. But it being 20 attempts is like, okay, like you got to give it to them. Who's this going to happen to? Like, again, the rare
Oh, you'd
anomaly.
be
So
surprised.
Yeah, I mean,
I
like
think it's actually good after reviewing the numbers.
yeah, I should have introduced the pity system. So, guys, if you have not heard, there is a pity enhancement system on the Global Labs that is set to release on main servers in the coming weeks here. Should be in the next, I don't know, guys.
Next
What do you
patch
think?
for us.
Next patch, really? That soon?
It's yeah, they've confirmed it. So Korea has it this week, and then we're confirmed to get it next week.
Okay,
April 17th.
so we are getting the pity system next week, guys. And so
Heck
essentially,
yeah.
the game has been tracking since January. They've been working on this, and they've been tracking how many fails you have on every single enhancement in the game. And at a certain point, the game will just give you the enhancement success without even consuming a fail stack because you failed so many times. And
that
I
was
think
really
that,
interesting.
and I
Was the
think that
non-consuming fail stack.
yeah, I think that this is just an objective W for the game overall. It does not affect the vast majority of players. I'm gonna keep it a buck. It will affect every single player at some point in their account. They will take use of the pity system, right? On one thing or another, because you end up in one extreme at some point based on the law of averages. You're going to hit the extreme at some point. And what this does is it keeps people from going way over the edge. This is a big reason why people quit the game. I think
Yeah.
they're trying to attack points that have people quitting their game on a regular basis. Number one, player versus player harassment is a large reason why
Oh
some people
my
quit the game.
gosh. I'm telling you, dude,
Like they
that's
just
not.
they felt like their guild was harassed into the ground. The guild died, and then they lost 60 players, right? Because all those players stopped playing the
I'm
game.
telling you.
Like,
Harassment's not
to
that
be
big of
honest
an
with you,
issue,
I
other
find it
than like
hard
a
to
big
remember
content
times
creator.
when players have just stopped playing the game because of player harassment. But it absolutely happens. And more importantly,
I mean, sure, it happens maybe a
the
little bit,
developers
but
saw it in
it's not
force
that
when the
much.
Lost
There's
Ark
no
people
way.
came over. And
Like, there's no proof on
the
any of that.
developers were trying to hold on to some of those content creators.
It's all
They
just
got
kind of
harassed into the ground. They left and went back to Lost Ark. Or they left and went back to other games.
opinion
Which,
based.
I'll be honest with you, like as a content creator, that was going to happen anyway. Like if you're keeping it a buck, like they're not going to stay. But that's not how the developers saw it. They saw it as okay, we're actually just losing players because when you do lose big content creators like that, a lot less people
Exactly.
are
See?
playing the game because like a lot less people are
See?
introduced to the game.
Blue is
Like
talking
as
about it. It's
content
all about the
creators, you stand
content
up on a
creators.
platform and
It's
you
because the
show, you're
content creators
basically
are getting
showcasing the game,
harassed.
right? That's how it works. And so the
It's the
less
only
big
reason
content
why.
creators that see the game, the less players that try your game, and they make the most money off of those new players. They're going to spend, they're going to spend $200-300 in their first
I mean,
month
sure,
on
that
their
maybe,
tent and their season pass and
but
their outfit and
inherently,
all this
like a
stuff, right?
generic
Like that's boom.
regular
Even if that
player
player
is
doesn't keep playing, and then if
not
that player
going to
continues,
be
they're going to
affected
end up
by it.
spending more money down the line. But like, I think the developers saw player harassment and they tried to crack down on it. Now they're seeing like, okay, what's another reason people like to quit BDO all the time? The enhancement system. That's a big reason why people like I failed my pen devo 55 times, something that Blonde Bear has never done in his life because he's never actually failed a direct enhancement.
I'm 0 to 17 right now. This
I'm
video
so
system is
sorry.
going to be making me big money.
I'm so sorry. 0 for 17, but you do have 3 pen devos, right?
Oh, listen, that's not what
And
the
how many
question was.
how many attempts did those take you? And how many
That's not what the question was.
and how many of those take you? How many attempts did
That was not
5
the
total
question.
clicks, right?
0 to 17 is what I'm at right now.
Yeah. But even at 0 and 17, because you got your other ones in 5 clicks, you're still way above the average, like flying high, like you're literally God up on the
No, I think it's
mountaintop.
about average, right? That's what 3 out of 25. That's like
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
no, don't at me. No,
yeah,
get out of here.
That's average, yeah.
It's average. Yeah, it's average, guys.
The
Average.
law of averages, right?
Yeah, that's
A law
right.
of averages.
I too would claim that I was average after one tapping my first 3 pens and then struggling for the fourth. Like,
Yeah, that's how the numbers work. I'm just saying when you.
I think that a lot of people would love to struggle that way instead of the other way. But I think that again, this is another attempt by the developers to kind of attack a point of the game that has people quitting a lot.
Yep.
So like,
Definitely.
I think it's a huge W for the game overall. Blonde, I know that you had special feelings about it before. Do you still feel that the pity enhancement system is bad for the game, or that you think that people should struggle in this way, like, or that's part of the game in some way?
Yeah, like I said before, I think it's just one of those things where even during like when the potions came out and the pities were coming out, people like immediately thought, oh, they're gonna do pities for the other treasures, and I don't know. There's like a little bit of panic when you change a system that people are used to. But as time progressed, everybody was like, okay, the potion change for pities was an objective W, right? The treasures are a very separate item. The potions, this was a big deal, and it was important, and it has proven that there's player retention from being motivated by getting these pity pieces to continue that system. So after seeing the result of those things, it's okay. I'm starting to believe. So yeah, the first 24 hours, I was like, man, this kind of sucks. And then I thought about it. And I was like, well, if it only happens to a very small percentage of the player base and it's to help motivate players. And
right.
I talked to a lot of people since our last podcast when we talked about, I've talked to like at least 5 to 10 people about, how they felt about the system. And some people are like, oh, well, a lot of my PvP friends quit and now they might come to the game because they feel that progression and they can see those numbers because they failed X amount of times. And yeah, if that leads to player retention, I think it's a good thing. Yeah, 100%. So I felt a little sour, like anybody would during a transitioning period of like what's feeling to stray away from maybe what you like. But it is, I agree, a good thing.
Yeah, it's a W. It's a W.
Those players,
Yeah. And Jay, you liked it too, right? We're basically all on the same page here. Like, did you like how do you feel about it overall?
No, yeah, I mean, I think this was something that's like a natural thing in MMOs that they eventually introduce systems to make the game easier and accessible over time for whatever systems. And I do think this system is a good thing for the game. there's a cap on being lucky in the game, which is one tapping, right? Whereas there wasn't a cap on being unlucky until now with the system.
Yeah.
There were some comments in my chat about how this is going to affect the market, and for sure this is going to help the small percentage of people. But I don't think it's going to, I don't think if they hit the pity, they're probably weren't going to make profit anyways. Like if that person hit the pity for them, they're most likely in that small percentage of people that the item was probably going to be used by that person rather than sold in the market. So yeah, I don't think it's going to have too big of an impact on the market. But
I wonder what
now that
Bio
the
think
numbers are out,
Biohacks thinks about it.
I think for the most part, like I think the numbers are pretty fair for like 40 for the Black Stars, 20 for the I think it's about double or times 2 or times 3, like being unlucky on the average is like, what do you think? Do you think it's fair for all the numbers so far? Or is there anything that you could
Yeah,
use
it's
some
like double the
adjustments?
average, right? When you look at the
No,
numbers,
no,
like
it's-
on a 220 stack, your average is 20 attempts on a Pin Black Star Croned or whatever, and Pen Devos are like between the 7 to 10 range. This is just doubling those averages, and again, the chances you would even get that many fails in a row is so
astronomically low.
that
Yeah.
it's again to just help
Exactly.
those players to know that, like, oh my god, I only
There's a
need 3 more
light.
clicks and I got it no matter what. Like I can do
Exactly.
these last 3 clicks. You know what I mean? Like you got to think of the player mindset when you get past the average and you're like gloom and doom. I know X Genet's at like 106 taps on his Black Star, and it's like I feel bad for people that have been tapping for years, and this only is going back to January 1st, but I feel like they had to set some sort of date for it.
Yeah, I mean, dude, some
By
people are so
now,
unlucky,
or,
like me.
I feel like
My
it
RNG
does
is
just
not
look
good.
overall, and players that maybe wouldn't be interested in the game can now look at it and be like, oh, okay, they have like a Lost Ark system. I mean, there's Lost Ark content creators I know that were kind of like, kind of put off by that, and now they're like, oh, okay, this is kind of, I kind of like this. The guarantee aspect in the back of your mind affects you in ways you don't know.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna ask, what do you
Yeah, I
think
mean, it's a
about
W.
the pity number for the Pen Fallen guide? Do you think people are actually
1,000.
Okay,
gonna try to hit
I
that
do have
pity,
something
or?
to say about that. I
Dude,
thought also
1,000?
that
That's a
this
lot.
the assistant enhancement helping system would be a transition to, okay, let's accelerate and push them, because they can always adjust these numbers. That's kind of a cool thing, I guess, is that they can always push the player by giving them a certain amount of attempts to get something guaranteed. So I thought, oh, well, maybe they'll just let us hit all Pen Fallen God to introduce the
Why?
new stage of the game where
What's the
you're
new
gonna be a little
stage?
tankier, or you're gonna get a little more monster damage reduction or whatever. So I was like, oh, this will be like that stage, and then it was like 0 out of 1,000, and I was just like sitting there like,
Because it's like that
what?
is the end game piece.
Why? And also the fact that it's not on the Devo
Unreachable.
ring. Like they're not putting it on Devo rings. You can't use the hammer on Devo rings. I don't understand. Like if this is a system overall to help all players progress at all stages, or I guess only at certain stages. I don't know.
Yeah,
Why
it's
they
certain
make it be
stages.
straight
It's
across
certain
the board and
stages.
it's only for some things.
It's for you to
This
keep
means that
playing.
every new piece of gear, there's going to be a window of time where they
Yeah.
just like, okay, like you can
Well, it
just
can't
go
be
way over the
obsolete as soon as the
averages,
new piece of gear
and
comes out.
just, oh, that sucks to be you that you're ahead, or it's like a silver sync for people that are ahead or whatever. I feel like, I don't know. It should be just like all across the board. If this is the way the system is, then let it be that way. But you could argue that it's like a silver sync for
Yeah, I don't
healthy rig.
agree with that.
I guess that's okay too. That's like kind of what
Because
the selling of the
you want your
hammers
gear
was.
to
You were
still be
literally
relevant.
pushing the wealth into the new player
Like
economy.
I would hate to go to a
Silvers,
system
you get
like
an extra
World of
Black Star
Warcraft
or
where
the
every
armor
expansion
upgrade to then move from
comes
the launch
out
stages to
and
the later stages.
your
So
gear
I think
becomes
that
irrelevant.
you could kind of dice it up.
At least
a
your
few
gear
different
stays
ways, but
relevant.
Oh
I
yeah,
thought that was
speaking of the
interesting.
hammers, like I was talking with someone last night about like how much silver has been sunk, and someone mentioned in my chat that on like an EU there's been like 9,000 trades of the
Close to
hammers.
9. It's
And so
8.8 when I checked it
9,000,
today. So yeah, 9. Close to 9.
yeah, like if we multiply that just like baseline, like 9,000 times, let's just keep it simple, 30, right? 30 bill. That's 9,000 times 20.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
227 no,
Could be
270
more than that.
I can't do
Yeah,
the math, but that's a lot of trillions of silver that's
270
been already sunk.
trillion.
that's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
A lot of money. I will say, yeah. In EU, I checked the trades for the hammer on EU. It's 8.8K today. A little later in the day, so closer to 9 probably as we move forward. And there were about 2.4K listed on the marketplace. In North America, there are only 5.3K trades,
Which is kind of crazy.
Honestly, like 60% or 50%. Like pretty low. And there's still 2.5K on the marketplace. So what this tells us overall is that there was a lot more silver kind of floating on EU, but also that I think that EU players we're probably floating much more silver, probably because they don't ever get cron stones. So like I expect that, to be honest. Overall, and I think it's a huge W for my EU account. I'm waiting for the stock to run out. I'm waiting for the price to go. The price will go up on these. They're going to sell out at min price, and I think that what this does is it keeps people's banks really low. At least like the high end banks. I know Biohack probably bought Lord knows how many hammers for his account, right? So like I don't know. I still agree with the hammer. I think it was an objective W. I think the pity enhancement
Yeah, I
system
wonder how much he bought.
is one of the biggest W's that the developers have come up with in a very very long time. I have definitely super happy about that, and it's not just because every time I click Manos, I want to die inside a little bit. It's because
Oh yeah, the fact that
Pen Manos.
Sorry,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, didn't they say it was gonna be for that stuff too, right?
Yes.
Like where we can cron it or
Thank
whatever. That
goodness,
is
dude.
also
Yeah.
insane.
It
I
only
think
goes
that,
back to January, so like I'm not gonna get all my
Yeah, yeah.
stuff. I'll take it.
But
I don't care.
that's
I'll take it.
that is a W. Gear enhancing, grinding, PV stuff, whatever. All that other stuff though, that shit sucks, and that is amazing that it's happening for the like all that other stuff. I mean, even isn't it on boat gear and everything too? Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's
all
like
that stuff
everything.
looks amazing. I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh my god, like life skillers getting something for them. Hey, let's
It's
go.
crazy, bro. They didn't
It's
forget about
crazy.
us. That's
Amazing.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and then they also said that Black Desert Online official YouTube put out a video today that basically stated all of the updates that they plan to bring for the month, which I thought was an interesting way. Honestly, it's like
Mini
an
roadmap.
interesting way of communicating with us. I really like
Really
that.
cool.
So
Same.
like we should all like give it a thumbs up and like do that because like if they did that every month, we'd actually know what we were getting this month, and it wouldn't be
That'd
just
be
like,
good.
hey Blue, when are we getting this? And I'm anywhere between now and next January. You know what I mean? Like I have no idea. But like they gave us the roadmap, and they did say on the roadmap that we are getting combined life skills
Let's go.
this month.
Yes.
And we're already like almost 10 days into the month at this point.
The
So
24th, I believe.
I'm curious with the combined life skills. Have they confirmed? I think originally they said that they were just going to add up all of our different characters and just like boom, there's your total life skill level.
Yep.
But like then I
think
heard
this is the
some
sum of,
conflicting.
yeah.
Yeah, then I heard some conflicting reports. So like, is that how it's going to be?
That's the only way I
I
can
saw that
imagine
video
it.
too, and they literally worded it as the sum of your life skills. So I'm pretty sure that means they're adding all the life skills together. But if you're already, I'm assuming if you're already capped on, like if you grew 50 on one character, then you won't go past grew 50, of course.
Oh, what if they introduce new caps to this? That'd be kind of cool.
They
Everyone
increase it
can-
further than grew 50, you mean?
Yeah, because I feel like it'd be
I
such a
don't know.
waste for players that did hit cap on certain
Well,
things.
Blonde, if they're going to do that,
So,
they
like-
got to get more than 2K mastery. And I swear to God, at this point,
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I just started hitting 2K mastery.
Wouldn't it be cool if we
Blonde.
had like a
No, it
real
would
actual
not be
progressive
cool.
system instead of it just being like get 1600, get 2000. Okay, everything below that you're just trolling.
It would not be cool.
Wouldn't that be great? You know, feeling like, oh, I've hit 1600. Finally, I can access this new cool thing. You know, like almost like gear score. Cool if we had that.
Yeah, it
Like,
would
oh, I
not.
reached 700 gear score. Can access the new thing.
Yeah, I don't think
One
that
day.
it's gonna affect too much of the life skill. Like I think 2K mastery is reasonable. I think they should just buff how much life skills are actually giving, like money. I think that
I think the combination's insane. That the fact that they're so, I think I have like literally 5 characters because I forget which ones they are that have like what is it, artisan alchemy? Because every time I move a new character, I'm like, oh shoot, I need alchemy to craft blue elixirs. Well, I needed to, right? It's not anymore. But like I would like, oh, who can craft this? Oh, I can't do this with the beginner. Which one do I need? So I had to power level 5 different characters because I forgot which one they were. Now that is completely gone. Or maybe I want to go sailing, but I want to go on my main because I have a cool costume and I want to dance on the ship while they're doing, while they're driving it, while I'm just AFK. Like that'd be like, I can't do any of that. Or I want to pick up something or gather something or chop some tree because I'm next to it. Like the fact that like you had to do very specific stuff to hop through those loops. This
So
is like,
annoying.
actually really cool. I
Yeah,
like that a
it'll be a
lot.
nice change.
I don't like. Yeah, I mean, like the what Blonde is very painfully going to find out is that even having 26 characters with Artisan 5 Alchemy really only means that you're like Master 1 Alchemy when you combine them together, because that's how alchemy
I don't need
works.
to be
sadly.
high. I just need it to be combined.
Tragic.
Okay?
When
I just
he
need to be able
finds
to
out
access it on any character. Okay?
how little that is. Yeah, I mean,
And
like
the
let's talk about
sprinting?
the biggest implications of the combined life skills. I'm sure we'll talk about it more when it comes back, but like, I mean, when it finally happens. But like, what are some of these implications of combined life skills? I'm personally excited for 20-second tap time on every character. Even if I make a new character, I have 20-second tap time in large scale PvP, and I don't have to worry about it. And I also, the
What is
biggest
tap
quality
time?
of life game, I can just hit auto sprint on every character in the game.
Oh yeah.
And just click
What is a
auto
tap?
sprint.
That'd be nice. Yeah, auto sprint. Yeah.
Oh, it's when you repair the Node War fort. You got
We can
reduced
repair
repair
those?
time.
Blonde, you were in a siege guild for like
Yeah, we always
2
sat in
years.
castle. I was just on the wall, okay? I was just on the wall. I shot a cannon. I didn't never have to do anything else other than that. It was a good time.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So you can repair the forts? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's
Mhm.
pretty cool.
Huh.
Like, okay, but like what? I guess I'm the only life skiller in the call, so I'm not going to get very much out of you guys. But like, honestly,
I like
quality
the
of life,
sprinting.
guys.
The sprinting is so
too. I did
cool.
the
Yeah. And
You
and
guys
I
are
have
so
characters that have
stupid.
way more
Jesus.
weight, and I get to do alchemy on them now. I have characters with only 700 weight. You know how hard it is to do alchemy for more than 5 minutes with only 700 LT? That's impossible. Now I can do it on my main.
I still might do all my life skills on at least most of it on at least one character. Because cooking and alchemy, right? That my weight on my witch, like I have max weight on my witch, so I'd still probably prefer to do it on that. But definitely, like let's say I'm wanting to do bartering or something, and then my Corsair is useful because she gets a little bit of extra stats there. I think I can use my striker to hunt because it has OP passive for 20% crit rate and stuff like that. So it's gonna be useful for that. Farm flipping, I don't have to run all the way over there to
my
farms anymore.
yes.
I can just leave an ult over there. So definitely a lot more
Yes.
saving time. Saving time
Let's
stuff
back
is
up
what
for a
I'm
minute.
mostly gonna be.
Heck
You don't
yeah.
have a
Yes.
you don't have a farming ult?
Huh. Yeah, that's
No,
interesting.
I just run over there with my
That is
okay,
interesting.
I don't have farming ult because I started farming on my witch,
What?
and I have old.
That's kind of
I have
crazy.
old moon farms, right? And you
Spend
can't
$20
flip the
and
farms
get
on
an
a
alt.
non.
You've played this game for 7 years, Jay. You can't spare $20 to save yourself countless
No,
hours
he
of
spent it all
time
on
of
content
running
warning.
across the map to do your farms. What is going on? There's
Well, okay.
no
Here's the thing,
shot.
my witch is not my main grinder anymore, so it's been a lot easier because I leave my witch in Heidel and my farm's in Velia, so I just run over back to Velia. But it's not that big of a deal. But
You run all the way to Velia and then back to Heidel
It's not
every
that far.
time
It's
you
not
do
that
your
far.
farms?
Well, okay. Here's the
So
thing.
inefficient.
It's fast because I have a spare T10 on my.
Oh my
witch,
gosh.
So
Oh, must be nice.
That is so
Must be nice to be
interesting.
one of the high class people with an extra T10.
yeah, I'm a spare T10 Pegasus, so I
Wow.
spare my witch, and she can
Must
fly.
be nice.
Yeah, see, this is why you both get flamed in the comments constantly. The trick is to, again, be one of the people that just never gets carried on anything. The trick is to just not succeed on anything in life, and just be a complete parental disappointment all the way through, and then you don't get flamed in the comment.
You know, back to those comments. There were some nice people in the comments that were like, "Why is everybody ganging up on Blonde Bear?" Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. As much as I do appreciate the people having differences in opinion in the comments, and I do appreciate the engagement and feedback, you guys don't have to comment. Hey, don't be mean. I asked for it. I literally
that engagement. We need that
what are you
if you're
doing, Blonde? What is
constructive
this?
criticism and feedback and say
What the hell?
something positive about what you think. Hey, don't be mean. I appreciate the thought.
Stop. I'm just stop you right there.
Say something else.
Jay has the right idea here, okay? Jay actually knows how to promote himself and conduct himself when I ask himself to shout him out, okay? I ask you to shout you out, and you're like, I like parties. Okay? That's all we get out of you, all right? And now you're like, guys, stop commenting on the video. Both Jay and I are like, shut up. We're trying to put out a fire with our feet. Like, shut.
I just don't want them to comment that they need to stop defending. It just provide an opinion about what you thought I said. Unless they don't want the flack, which I totally understand. Because those other ones got down, they got heavy down, thumbs down. They were all the way at the bottom. I had to scroll real far. So.
Oh, there was one thing I wanted to touch on back on the pity system is that do you guys think so now that they're adding chronable life skill accessories and armor, do you think we'll be able to chron alchemy stones in the future?
Please, God, why is the system not changed? Why is it not changed yet? It doesn't make any sense. what is it? Hugh said he asked Jay at the ball. This is like one of the most archaic systems in the game that has never, ever changed. I think they've changed everything in the game at this point except for the alchemy stones and amity. I think those are the only two things they've never touched in this game, and it blows my mind. They did like the skip feature for alchemy stones like a few months ago because they were like, oh, people still do this? Don't you guys know you could just get a vel? Like, and then they just like completely were like, back in the trash closet where it goes. Like, what the heck? This is crazy. And people, it's not like people don't talk about this. People are asking about this all the time, and they're just like, I don't know. What?
Which system are we talking? Are we talking about Amity?
Alchemy
Alchemy
stones.
Alchemy stones.
I love Amity.
Yeah,
Don't touch Amity.
Right?
Leave Amity alone. Amity did nothing wrong.
Well, I don't
What?
think Amity is like broken or anything.
Amity's awesome. Amity is one of the most specifically unique things that nothing else in any game is ever like it. Most systems have like a wave at the NPC or do a little chat dialogue and whatever, and you get W points. This game system, I don't know if how intricate you've gone to the Amity system, but there's like multiple levels of things you have to reach. You also need knowledge from all the different things in the game that you have to go and talk to for different NPCs that then access more types of conversations to then talk about so you can evolve the conversation and spark their interest. The system is wildly complex and
you can
it's
also press
actually
F5
really cool.
to wave at the NPC.
No.
Let's all shut up for a moment. Hold on. Can we just take a moment to appreciate why Blonde is going to get flamed in the comments this week? Because the Amity game has to be one of the worst systems in the history of Black Desert. And whoever thought of it should be fired.
Oh no.
Literally so
It is
outdated.
the coolest, uniquest system in the game.
Equals bad. It is terrible. And the reason I state for the record, the reason I know it's terrible is because there isn't a single player in the game that really uses the Amity system on a regular basis. That isn't trying to get one particular thing from an NPC, and then they're done with this terrible Amity game, and then they never go back to it again. It's not like anybody wakes up today in the morning and they're like, God, I can't wait to do the Amity game today. No one team does that. It's terrible. No, you didn't, Blonde. Stop kidding yourself.
Okay, I don't know if you guys remember, because this is like ye olden days, like first 6 months of BDO. The only way to get a weapon that literally did more damage to humans, which would increase your PvP damage, was to talk to someone in Calpheon, do their Amity game, and then with Amity points, like you know in the game, you can buy certain things. So like you literally had to play it to get the best in-slot weapon at the time, which was crazy. You may not like the system and like the rewards and benefits because it's just one of those old things they just haven't touched in like a million years. Nobody really cares. No. I think it's really cool. It's unlike anything in any other game I've ever seen. I've never seen a system that does what this does. The way it functions is cool. Maybe like how it like actual and practicality sucks, but the system itself is wholly unique and unlike anything else.
There's actually one NPC in particular that I'm pretty sure 99.9% of us did Amity for was actually
Wasn't there an event?
Yeah, you know what we did? She was a cheap date. You just waved at her a few times and she put out. That's all it was, okay? Like that's it. You just kept waving at her. You know why? Because you're avoiding a terrible Amity game.
I told her about the monsters I've slain and the people I've met, and I shared my adventures with her.
Oh my god, I actually almost yawned when he tried to say it.
Get a longer version of the crit buff if we actually talk to her.
Hey, that would be
no one
cool.
has tried. Everyone got exactly 25 Amity and gave up. Okay?
I think it's definitely one of those systems where people will always optimize the fun out of it, and I think that if there's a button where I can press one button, or I could have like a complex puzzle game added to it, I think people will just press the one button. It's just natural. Whether or not it's rewarding for the effort you're putting in, I guess I could see it that way. But I think it's just so unique, uncompared to anything else. I'd never played any. It's a puzzle game, unlike anything else. If anybody knows any other game systems and other games like that, I'd love to know.
It's not a puzzle system.
It's
literally
every individual conversation you are influencing them in certain points, and they go up and down. And depending on how many points of influence you have, you then can have a conversation that, again, the objective is either spark their interest, not spark their interest, or talk freely with them and gain a bunch of points. And you can literally, depending on that meter, influences the conversation topics to have more or less point values that then have combos servers that say, okay, after 4 conversation topics, you actually are going to get double points for the next 3 things, or after a few conversation topics, you're just going to get a flat amount of points. Like, there's a lot of really cool intricacies to it. There's just no benefit to it, and it's just kind of a nonsensical system.
It's not integral. You figure out how it works. You understand
cool.
how you understand how it works, and then you do it the same way basically every time. You just kind of like the game tells you what you want, and then you bam bam bam, you're done. Bam bam bam, you're done. It sucks. And if you don't know the game, you're basically just guessing the entire time, and it sucks. It's a horrible system. The rewards are terrible. If they rework it, they have to rework the entire system. Even when the game started, everyone hated doing the Amity game. Like literally, I remember played Bow Quest. We're going Blade styles. That's how far back I'm going right now. Okay, Blade Bow Quest used to make guys be like, guys, I know you don't like the Amity game, but this is how you do it, and you have to do it with this NPC in Calpheon. Because this is how you get this Rosar whatever, or this is how you get that, or this is how you get this. And everyone hated it. Every time someone was forced to do the Amity game for anything, it was just miserable. Yeah, I think you're forced to do the Amity game, I think, one time during the main story. And you know what the new players do? They just throw darts against the wall until it works. Okay? Because the system is not intuitive. It's not fun. And they don't want to come back to do it again. That's how you know it's a bad system. It's like it just because it's unique doesn't mean it's good. You're right, it is unique. There is no system that is quite as garbage as this one is.
Quite as garbage.
To an NPC. They really have butchered conversation with NPCs to a level that like they didn't even want to add voice lines. I would love to hear voice lines and stuff too. You know what would make Amity interesting? Let's just remove all the other shit and all this guesswork crap, and let's have the NPC give you a prompt. And then if you answer correctly based on like 7 responses, and you answer correctly based on 7 responses or something, like it'll give you another prompt, and then you can go to another one. And you actually have to know lore and stuff. Then you actually have to know stuff about the game, and you can have a conversation. And the NPC should talk to you verbally.
Oh my god!
With
Like
voice
ChatGPT.
acting.
Oh my god!
Shut your mouth. Your ChatGPT.
Be
We'll
cool,
talk about that in a minute.
I think it's one of those things where it's like it's a puzzle game and a game that we're not here to play puzzles, so a lot of people are just disinterested in it. I still think it's really, really incredibly cool. I think it could be even developed even more to exactly what you're saying too. It's just that it just wasn't liked, so they just completely were like, okay, nobody likes this, we're taking that out.
They could just remove it from the game tomorrow, and everyone would be like, who?
No, that would be terrible. I just think it's one of those things, and this is like, I think when players react to MMOs in general, it's like if something is at all annoying, frustrating, or just doesn't rub them the right way, I feel like it's already like, oh, we don't like it, I don't want this. And then like devs will see that and they'll be like, ah, man, that really sucks. It's a cool system. And they could have developed it better if people showed more enthusiasm, but I feel like when you go into an automatic negative sentiment, I feel like you're just gonna have that opinion. It's gonna shape the community side of opinion, and then like the devs are gonna be like, oh man, they really hate this system, and it's like it could be better. Like no, please don't look at it that way.
Blonde Chat actually brought up a good point. Do you know my favorite thing about jigsaw puzzles? Is the RNG that goes into
jigsaw
them.
Puzzles?
Yeah, my favorite thing about puzzles in general is the RNG that goes into them.
I think it is really cool. Every time you talk to them, it's like a dice roll.
No. I like knowing how to solve a puzzle and then realizing that I did the puzzle correctly only to be punished because RNG is a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, there's a dice roll, right? Like, that's actually how the conversation works, is you use all the right puzzle pieces depending on the topic she's requesting you, and then you also dice roll on top of that.
It was a joke.
I think that's really cool.
No one likes that.
Really cool.
No one likes the Amity game.
Well, when it comes to board
likes
games,
it.
I'm
Even
really
if you
like
haven't
a guy,
figured it out.
I actually like that.
Even if you haven't figured it out. Even if you haven't figured it out.
I like it.
Holy moly.
Board games. There's some really good board games that you'd probably like based on these same systems.
Monopoly.
They should make a board game of the
Monopoly.
That would be cool.
It would be the least. Honestly, it would sell about as many copies as Shadow Arena did as a standalone game. I would say that would do just about as well.
I think Shadow Arena had more players in BDO than out of BDO.
No, Blonde. No kidding. They shut the servers down. You're like, man, I bet there were more people playing Shadow Arena than when it was part of the game.
Two of those?
I'm saying, I think that's true, yeah. Even for the thousands of players BDO, I think they had probably less than that in the Shadow Arena.
You know, they actually made a Shadow Arena, or rather a, what is it called, Battle Royale game in WoW. Recently, they had
Yeah,
what
the
was that, like,
new
Battle Royale.
pirate thingy. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Mm.
So much hate, yet so many people are playing it and loving it.
What, the battle royale?
Crazy. Yeah, there were
There's a
so
Battle
many
Royale
people
in WoW
being like,
now. Mhm.
"What the heck?" And then everybody else is like, "Why are we freaking out? Just play it and have fun."
Wait, there's a battle royale in
Yeah.
World of Warcraft?
They just introduced
Yeah, they
it.
added
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
You can do, like, duos and stuff,
They
it's
added
pretty
it
cool.
inside the game, right? It's not like this new game
Yeah.
on
Inside the
Steam.
game, yeah.
It's not like
Yeah,
a
and
standalone
everybody,
game.
yeah, and everybody hated it, and then they changed their mind and they liked it after a minute.
Mm-hmm.
They can still
cool.
add Shadow Arena back, guys. They can
Yeah.
still add it back.
I
It
hope
can
they do.
still
I
happen.
hope they do. There's no reason they shouldn't.
I don't see why they shouldn't.
It's probably
Yeah.
just a mode they just have to turn back on again, right? They didn't delete all the files. Like,
Surely.
they definitely
Probably
should.
in there somewhere.
Surely, yeah,
And
surely.
It's in
Yeah.
the Magnus.
Makes no sense why
Yeah.
they got rid of that game mode.
Like,
Literally.
okay. All right. I've spoken enough on it. I've grilled Blonde enough about the Amity system. I can't believe we got on such a tangent that we went into Amity. I literally wrote Node War changes on the current topic, and then we ended up talking about Amity. My editor's gonna have a field day. It's gonna be like, where are the Node War
BDO,
changes?
man. There's so many things in this game that are unlike a lot of MMOs that are so unique. And I've experienced, I think, almost everything except for tabbing a fort. I never heard of that before, but I think it's cool. I love this. I love this game.
Yeah.
I love BDO.
I love
Okay.
BDO.
Let's do. Yeah.
No freaking way.
Let's do closing thoughts. On
I got my
podcast.
very
Let's start with Blonde last
first
time. We'll start with you
distortion
this time.
earring.
All right, closing thoughts is that pity system W, let's go. Pity system for alchemy stones maybe, or chronable alchemy stones, please. And
All right, well, this is probably the best hour that I have yet to do. That's actually hilarious that I ended up getting a earring. Nice.